Hello, Scorpio, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of August 31st through September 6th. And during that time, we'll have a first quarter moon that comes in on the 31st or the 1st. You might be feeling that energy there. And that reminds me a lot of the full moon energy where we feel a little bit impulsive, impatient. Maybe your mind's very active, kind of hard to settle down and get anything done. So use that energy or fight that energy accordingly. We then move into the waxing gibbous energy for the remainder of the week, which is definitely a time for deeper understanding and outlook, a little calmer, a good time for you to act on your intuition and your introspection, and a good time for planning, making plans or executing things that you've just started, new projects that you've just started on the new moon. So keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Scorpio. So as always, please take what resonates and leave on the table what doesn't. Your overall message for this reading is meditate and contemplate. All right, let's see what Scorpio has going on for the week. As I'm shuffling, I would like to say that since my readings are free to you, all that I ask in return is that you hit that subscribe button. It really helps my channel and it's super easy for you to do so. I will give you just a moment to do that right now as I'm shuffling. Thank you so much. And if you've been a subscriber, thank you for coming back and helping me build a community here. I see you and I do appreciate you. So thank you so much. All right. And as I am shuffling here, Scorpio, my weekly reminder is that you keep a spiritual journal. Sometimes we don't recognize the patterns that are evolving when it comes to our spiritual experiences. So keeping a journal of the things that you learn or synchronicities that you're having, maybe dreams that you're having, repetitive dreams, that sort of thing. But those sorts of encounters, it just helps you look back on those emerging patterns later. So it can be an important tool as you're evolving spiritually. So that is just my fun reminder for you this week, is that if you don't do it already, keep a spiritual journal and try to write those things down in there so that you can use that as you're evolving. All right, Scorpio, without further ado, let's get into this reading. August 31st through September 6th. Meditate and contemplate. Let's see what the Scorpio collective has going on. All right, Seven of Cups. So lots of choices. It looks like you're, in a place where you're having to make some choices over. This card could represent lots of different things. You're making choices about the material world, about maybe travel or people, emotions. It could be about hidden things or spiritual things. All the different things that are represented on this card, but it looks like you've got a lot of choices and you're kind of trying to narrow some things down. Maybe that's why you're being prompted here to meditate and contemplate, to really think about things before you're making choices. Your current situation is that you've been hard at work here with the Eight of Pentacles, kind of buckled down, working on something, and maybe that's leading to those choices. I always say that choice is a luxury. The better your life becomes, the harder you work. Sometimes it just broadens your choices. I use the example of when you're young and you don't have a lot of money, and let's say you're apartment hunting. Well, your choices are limited by that income. As you work harder and you make more money, your choices of housing become bigger and more broad. So that's just that's the luxury of choice, and it's the payoff of hard work. At the root of your situation this week is the Chariot. So it looks like you're getting ready to make a move here on something. Of course, you've got choices to make. We'll see as the cards come out what that might be for you. But I am going to notice here that we do have 2 7s, so you may want to look up angel number 77. We'll see if more come out for you, but see if there's something in that 7-7 realm that makes sense to you. But looks like you're kind of gathering information. And maybe that's why you're hard at work at something, but you're gathering information to make the right choices, that's always a good thing. In your recent past is the Strength card. So you come into this with an inner strength, inner strength and wisdom of how to kind of do whatever this thing is, whatever you're preparing to make a move on. Again, meditate and contemplate. If you're, just trying to make the right decisions, you may want to, I always say do the pro and con list where you're writing things down as you think of them. what are the pros of this decision or that decision? Sometimes when you put it on paper and it's in front of you, it's a little more logical to be able to discern the decisions that you need to be making there. What is on your mind this week is the Hermit, of course, with meditate and contemplate. I thought he would come out quicker, but there he is on your mind. So you're really thinking really hard about this. Um, I'm not shocked by that. Scorpios do tend to be, pretty intense. And I feel like when you make decisions, you guys know how to buckle down already and just go inside and draw on your, not only your strength and wisdom of the world, but your inner wisdom also. So you're really having to do that before you make any choices or before you make the decision to move. I mean, for some of you, this could be about, am I going to make this choice to move on to some continuing education? Am I going to move across the country? Am I going to take this job? There's some sort of opportunity that seems bigger than usual. Especially since we've got these major arcana cards coming out. If I didn't have those, I would say it was going to be kind of a minor, but I feel like this is kind of a big decision for you Scorpios this week. So also I see that we've got some repeating cards with not only we have 7 and 7, but I'm also seeing 8, 8. So a lot of different angel numbers popping out at me too with your reading. All right, what is just ahead of you this week is the Ace of Swords. So all this meditation leads to a mental breakthrough for you. You have an aha moment where it's just everything makes sense. And again, like I said, this is because you're going in, you're really asking yourself the important questions before you make decisions, about, contemplating this move. But you're gonna have some sort of mental breakthrough and it's gonna just become obvious. You're gonna, oh well, there it is. There's the answer. So the answer will come to you. Just keep going within to look for it. It's in there somewhere. In your advice position is the 6 of Cups. So, this is just enjoy the moment. This is enjoy the moment. This might be a little bit of reminiscing about, and I almost feel like it's something that's coming true that you maybe thought about earlier in your life or like in your childhood. And you're like, wow, here comes this opportunity. What do I do? What do I do here? But I think you are going to get to a point where you have a mental breakthrough and everything, these cups, these choices that you're having all seem very clear, and the path just kind of gets laid out for you, and it's because you're drawing on your own inner wisdom and strength to really to come to a decision there, which is pretty awesome. What is beyond your control this week is that, yeah, for a while you're going to feel a little bit stuck. And I think that's why you're being prompted to meditate and contemplate. You're just going to feel a little mentally stuck. And I understand it because it's so many decisions I feel like to make at once. So, if this is like a move across the country, well, of course you're going to feel stuck and frozen in those because that's a lot. That's, if you own a home, it's selling a home. It's what do you do with the furniture? Are you moving it? Are you taking it? Are you selling it? Are you doing this thing? Can you, what are the travel plans? Are there, if it's your whole family, are there other things to consider like your spouse's occupation and what they're going to be doing and your children moving school? I mean, it's a lot of different choices and things when it comes to a big decision like this. And of course you're going to have those moments where you're like, I just feel really stuck about it. But that's when we're just going to go within, meditate. Nothing is impossible. It might be a challenge for a little while, and it might not be normal for a little while. But then once you settle into, if it's a bigger dream that you've got, once you settle into it, you're going to be just fine. So you just kind of get through those rough spots, right? What is your secret desire or what you're trying to avoid? Is, of course, you're trying to avoid grief and sadness here with the 5 of Cups. So, I doubt if that's your secret desire. Of course, you're trying to avoid making the wrong decision, which we all do that. Sometimes you just got to suck it up and go for it and cross your fingers and hope for the best too. In your outcome position is another 5. So lots of repeating numbers here. In fact, I see now 3 8s. I forgot to do that. We've got 3 8s, 2 7s, and now a couple of 5s here on the table as well. So, and your outcome, this is debate. This is about and is this inner debate? I'm almost getting that feel too, that you're kind of debating all of this within your own mind. There might be other people involved too, where you're having at least deep discussions to make sure that all these decisions that you need to make are the right ones. And, you may have people that agree or disagree. And I'm going to say on this one, hold your ground. I feel like, You know, from going within, with doing all that contemplating and meditating that you've been doing, you know what your answer is. It seems clear to you. You might have others that disagree with you, but kind of hold your ground on that one. Okay, let's see what's hidden from you this week. Hidden from you is the Three of Swords. So, hidden from you is some heartbreak. I think you're trying to avoid it, and I think you do because that's hidden from you. I think the path will come out to be clear with this Ace of Swords. I think it's just going to come to you in a moment of clarity that you know exactly the move that you need to make and the decisions you need to make to support that. So, I have no doubt that you will get there, Scorpio. And I'm also going to say, because anytime I get a little frog in my throat during a reading, and probably here during this debate, you need to speak up. Go ahead and speak your mind. It's fine. Um, just speak up. Hold your ground. All right, let's get a final word here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final word for Scorpio is quietly serve. Well, that's what you guys kind of are, quiet anyway, right? Quietly, a little secretive sometimes, Scorpios. You don't always let everybody know exactly your plans, what you're doing. So not shocked there that you would be quiet about it, but I am going to say again, speak up when it's time to debate. You've put enough thought into this that you know what your answer is, and hold your ground. Stand up for yourself. All right, self-care this week for Scorpio. The self-care card that comes up for you is growth. And this card says, evolution starts when you, well, it's getting dark in here. Evolution starts when you leave your comfort zone. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's what I was talking about when it comes to making big decisions and changes. And if it's something huge like a move across the country, of course it is uncomfortable for a while, but you've got a bigger picture, a bigger idea in mind, this big aha moment that you're having, that you want to work hard and get this thing accomplished. And if it means that you have to do the big thing that's uncomfortable for a while, it also means that you're going to get there. And there's going to be a time when you are comfortable, everything's settled, and you look back and you're like, shoo, thank God that's over, first off. And I'm so glad that I did it because I'm in a better space now. So keep that in mind as you're moving through your week. So, Scorpio, I really appreciate your time here with me today. I hope there was something in this reading that you can take away and use for your life and your week this week. Drop me a comment down below and let me know if you're comfortable sharing. What is it? What are your big changes, a big move, or, choices that you're having to make when it comes to, anything that we've talked about here? Or if you have a question about this reading, I'd love to answer that for you. So, also, if you like my reading style, of course, please hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps my channel and pushes me out in the algorithm, which I appreciate as a new YouTuber. But most importantly, Scorpio, it'll help you find me next week, and we'll see where this story goes. So thanks so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.